Well, that sucked. Steelers fall to the Bengals. What was it? 33-31. And that was Thursday night, and as I'm recording this, it's Monday night. But I like to record these a little bit after, because then I have the opportunity to listen to people who actually do research, right? And I'm hoping that they tell me that it wasn't as bad as it looked, right? Obviously, us fans were emotional. I tried to be fair, level-headed, but a lot of fans are just, fuck this, fuck that, fuck this team, stuff like that. Whereas the people I like to listen to are, okay, here's what happened, here's what it means. Yes, it was as bad as it looked, it was worse than it looked, or it was better than it looked, And offense, man, that was great. There wasn't a whole lot of negative in that offense. Obviously, the interception by Aaron. And then you had the other interception, which I don't know if that really should have counted as an interception, or should that have been almost like a fumble because the guy took it away from DK after DK had possession, but that's semantics at that point. A turnover is a turnover, and it's a great play by the defensive back. I did see one video where someone said that Darnell DK was clearly down. I haven't looked close enough to say that he was down or not, but still, it's an amazing play by the DB. Turner. And that's more or less where the positives stop. Now, the defense as a whole can be negative, but you can have a player here or there that, hey, no, that player was positive. Deshaun Elliott, positive, right? And I know a lot of people say that the Steelers do the same thing over and over and they never change, Well, if Jamar Chase is having such a great game, why don't you change what you're doing? And the simple fact is that they did. It didn't matter if it was Ramsey, Porter, Slay. It didn't matter what type of coverage they were in, man or zone. It was like no matter what the defense did, they were wrong, right? And there's no such thing as the perfect defense for all offensive plays. Doesn't matter run, pass, play action, RPO. It doesn't matter. There's no perfect defense, because if there was, every single team in the entire NFL would learn it and do it. So, whether you're, okay, they're lined up with this kind of formation, this kind of personnel, this is what we think the play is. And sometimes you guess wrong, right? And it was just Jamar Chase over, and then, okay, we have Chase doubled. Well, now you hit T. Higgins. Okay, Chase and Higgins are doubled. Well, now you hit Yoshavash, or we're committing so much to the pass that Chase Brown can now take off for 30 because of a broken tackle. Which, even if he didn't break the tackle, it was still a gain of 8, let's say. There really wasn't a whole lot that the defense could do that was good. Now, I heard a theory, and I don't know if I believe it or not, but the theory was that you've heard of death by 1,000 cuts, right? Well, if the Steelers believed the Bengals defense is so bad we can just score on them, which they did. They put up 31. It's such a bad defense that instead of being ultra mega aggressive, where, did you prevent the 5-yard pass, but you allowed them to go 60 for a touchdown, versus you prevented the 60, but they went 5. Or he caught it for 5, but then took it another 3 for 8, But the Steelers essentially tried to have 999 cuts. Just don't get to 1,000. And maybe you force Cincinnati into one mistake. And maybe that's all you need in order to win the game. And the second interception I do think hurt, where we're in, we got a good chance of getting points before the first half is over, and instead Cincinnati's the one that goes and gets points, which that's a really big turn of events, where you have, in the grand scheme of things, we only lost by 2. Now, granted, T. Higgins could have scored that touchdown and didn't. And did I bring up the fact leading up to this game when I did the reaction to his press conference beforehand? Did I mention his bad record on Thursday night? I might have not have. But yeah, Mike Tomlin, terrible on Thursday night. And here's something that, again, I listen to people who really look at it and analyze it and regurgitate it to us in English, right? But here's a fun, let's call it lesson. Thursday night AFC North records. When an AFC North team is at home on Thursday night, Baltimore is 9-0. Cleveland is 9-1. Pittsburgh is 9-2. Cincinnati is 6-2. Away, Baltimore is 2-6. Cleveland's 1-5. Pittsburgh is 2-9. Cincinnati is 1-6. 19 of the 38 home games and 32 away games were divisional. So 19 home and 19 away were divisional. And this person says it's not a Steelers thing. It's not a Tomlin thing. It's an AFC North thing. And I even tweeted out, let me find it quick. This was either during the game or just after the game. Is it crazy to think that road Thursday games are a Steelers thing, not just a Tomlin thing? He is bad on road Thursday night football games. I wanted to stress that. I'm not making an excuse here. I'm not saying he's great. No, he is bad on Thursday night football on the road. But the Steelers are 3-16 since 1970 on Thursday road games. Mike Tomlin is 2-10. So he takes most of the hit for that record. 1-6 without him, though. Because he only became the coach in 2007. He wasn't the coach in 1970. So between Chuck Noll and Bill Cowher, the Steelers are 1-6 on Thursday road games. Think about that. So that was just a thought I had, is that maybe it's not a Tomlin thing. And that post right there says that it really isn't even a Steelers thing, which is absolutely insane. So the AFC North as a whole are 6-27 away and 34-5 at home. Let's see. There was one more thing. See if I can find it or not. I don't think I'm going to. No. But it was along the lines of, since Mike Tomlin was hired, so again 2007. I know everyone talks about how he loses games to the bad teams, right? Like, he's notorious, infamous, whatever you want to say, for losing those trap games. But it was Mike Tomlin is, since he's been hired, he has the 4th fewest losses to teams with less than 8 wins. Think about that. In damn near 20 years, he has the 4th fewest losses to teams with 8 wins or fewer. Doesn't mean he doesn't have a lot. Like, legit, that does not mean he does not have a lot. The 4th fewest can still be 50, let's say. But it's the 4th fewest. So, like, when you're a fan of a certain team, you typically will mostly follow your team. And you pay attention to, like, the teams in your division and, you know, if Bills and Dolphins. That was a Thursday night game a few nights ago, or a few weeks ago. It's like, okay, 2 AFC teams, I'm going to throw this on. I might pay attention, I might not, maybe just to have it in the background, but I'll have it on. Because they're both AFC teams. But if it's the Cardinals and the Rams, I think that was a Thursday night game this year, then you may not watch. Why? NFC. Or Seattle Cardinals, whatever it was. I can't even remember. But it was like 2 NFC West teams, right? But you're not paying attention because it doesn't really concern you. So if you're not paying attention, then you don't know, right? And all you really see, or mostly see and mostly absorb, is what the Steelers put on, or what your favorite team puts on screen. So, like I said, the defense, it was that bad in the game. It was like as bad as it seemed. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to say, oh, well, no, it was bad. But at the same time, they did try different things. I think really the only thing they didn't try, from what they said, was they didn't try to press them. And is that because you just were trying to get the 999 cuts, don't get to 1,000 cuts, and just don't allow the 60-yard touchdown behind you, you know? And that's possible. But I don't know. You know, is that what happened? We'll never know. Unless Tomlin says it, but I highly doubt they're going to give away what their game plan was. So, like I said, I like to get some context before I come in here and sound too emotional or don't have some facts right. But there is some context. And that is very interesting. I didn't know that the AFC North, all of us are bad on the road on Thursday night. Now, I wish we would get a fucking Thursday night home game versus an AFC North team. We went to Cleveland last year and we went to Cincinnati this year. I'd love to get one in Pittsburgh. But it is what it is. So let's hear what Mike Tomlin had to say following the loss to the Bengals. And I do apologize for taking almost 16 minutes on that little bit of information.
Hard-fought game, but certainly got to give credit to those guys, the Bengals. They did what was required to win. They made a few more plays than we did. Just from a analysis perspective, I just thought, the first half, we allowed them to run the ball too much. I think they had about 100 yards rushing at the half, and then we turned the ball over a couple times. And so that just kind of set a negative trajectory, and we're fighting uphill the rest of the way. I certainly appreciate the fight, but, man, we got to be cleaner. We got to be better, and we weren't tonight, and that's life in this business. We certainly got to learn from it, man, and keep pushing. But I'd be remiss if I didn't compliment them, man. They fought their tails off, man. They won the game, and they're certainly deserving. No real injuries to speak of. Had some bumps and bruises associated with play. Next time we get together, I'll provide some details in that area if necessary.
Anyone?
Michael, as the game went on, did you think about double teaming Chase Moore? What's your thought process?
What is that audio?
We played these guys a bunch. We double teamed them some. We double teamed 5 some. It's a mix. A mix is required. They got depth and talent. Just like the one play AD made down the middle, we were doubling them both, and they were one-on-one in that circumstance. And so, there's many ways you can analyze it, but the bottom line is they made more plays than we did.
Like defensively against the run, what was the issue, especially there in the second?
They popped a couple. They did, man. We didn't do a good enough job of gap control, and they popped a couple big ones, and it kind of created an unsteady environment.
It's especially disappointing with the secondary, considering sort of focus this offseason was getting these guys to play these Bengals.
Yeah, we won't be defined by this performance, but it certainly was disappointing tonight.
Mike, do you feel at all in the second that maybe you got away from the run with the success you were having in the first?
I don't. We turned the ball over a couple of times. It's 60 minutes of football. We ran it well in the second half. Any pocket of the game you can isolate and, have judgment. So
shout out to Jalen Warren.
Ran the ball effectively, largely over the course of the game.
Flea flicker called in the first half.
It was.
I think you said earlier in the season, after getting a bunch of turnovers, you're not able to turn over everybody. Is this a game where a couple turnovers could mask some of what you were giving up on defense?
When we're not getting it, we better secure it. I think it's the totality of it. We work as a collective. And so if we're not getting it, we certainly better protect it. And so we didn't do a good enough job of getting it tonight. We didn't do good enough job of protecting it. When you're -2 on the road, you don't win a lot of those games.
Did they do anything special to neutralize your pass rush tonight?
Now they got rid of the ball quick, and they were running the ball effectively, and so it minimized some of those one-dimensional passing circumstances.
Good to hear that there were no significant injuries in this game. So yes, Jalen Warren, great game. Coach said they just made a couple more plays. We did not make plays when necessary. He mentioned the different aspects of how we tried covering him. And by him, I mean Jamar Chase. And he also brought up T. Higgins. And it's like, okay, we double and Yosevash. Like I said in the beginning, there was no right answer for the Steelers. He did mention that they got the ball out pretty quick. When you get the ball out quick, it neutralizes the pass rush. So it's like, okay, he's getting the ball out on an average of 2.2. But if that average was 2.5, then it's a sack. Like, so it's not like the pass rush isn't doing its job. It's just he's getting rid of it so quick. It's the same thing Aaron Rodgers is doing. He's getting rid of the ball quick. So the other teams, they don't really have a chance to sack him. And one thing about Aaron, and we'll end up hearing from him in the next video, but on that final play, the Hail Mary, I was not sure if he was going to get it to the end zone or not. And I am, I guess, happily surprised he did. And I say happily surprised because that shows that he can still rip it. It was literally like 69.8, so I'm going to round it up to 70. Like, he can literally rip it 70 yards in the air at 41 years old, which is amazing. So, you know, if in the future we want to try a Hail Mary, all we really have to do is get to R40, and then he doesn't have to put every little bit he has into it. But yeah, Coach, he said some of the same stuff that I did. As far as like defense and whatnot, and he mentioned a little bit of the offense, running it well in the second half, and Jalen Warren had a great game. I can't stress that enough. He had a fantastic game, and in the end, it just wasn't enough between our turnovers, not getting turnovers. Sacks were the same, 2 and 2. There really wasn't one aspect of the game that we, when you compare it to them, that we dominated. It's like, yeah, our offense dominated their defense. Like, we scored 31. And we were running it well. But also at the same time, their offense dominated our defense. So when you're talking offense to offense, defense to defense, special teams, like, there really wasn't one glaring thing as far as I could see watching game, and as far as I've heard so far. But if you guys did enjoy this, please do leave a like. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.